perhaps watching Hot Sauce Sports. I figured being in the studio with Eagle, I would get a countdown. I did not. How's it going, Terry?
Good. I don't know what it is, but that music was really weird. The intro music was like speeding up and then slowing down and speeding up.
That's a buffering thing. That used to happen to me when I was doing it from home, also. But it's good here.
Yeah, like it's doing it right now while you're talking. Like this is actually fucking the most annoying thing in the world.
Me and Peas though.
I can hear you guys, but
Are
like
we also
it's
stuttering and buffering, or
not anymore.
oh, that's good.
Well, there we go. Problem solved.
Look at that. We fixed everything. We're geniuses. We're tech
Done
wizards.
nothing.
I mean, we're closer to geniuses than the Las Vegas Golden Knights, I think, at this point, right? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even want to start here. It seems disingenuous to not to start anywhere else because the big news of the day, of course, and like we'll get into like our actual news topics, but let's start with Fleury being traded from the Knights, the Golden Knights. For
To Chicago.
To Chicago.
For nothing.
A bucket of bolts, as far as I understand. Some pucks, maybe a washing machine. It's the trade where Woody Harrelson gets traded to Will Ferrell's team on semi-pro, basically.
And to remember, right?
for a washing machine.
Well, they needed a washing machine, so it was a good.
They really needed that washing
They really
machine.
needed it. So
He won the Vezina this year.
yeah,
Kucherov called him out publicly during his drunken press conference.
maybe Kucherov is right. Maybe the guy's a drunken savant.
And now he gets moved for literally nothing.
So I mean, listen. I mean, it's towards the end of his career. I just think that this could have been handled 100 different ways than it was. From the information that's been coming out now, it's like Kelly McCrimmon was talking to him, didn't tell him he was traded because he was waiting for it to be confirmed by the league, and then he was going to tell him, but then it got leaked on Twitter. And we can't really control what gets leaked and what doesn't get leaked. Actually, as I'm speaking about that, I'm watching just like a mini documentary on the whole Ariel Helwani leaking information from the UFC thing, and it's just you can only protect the information that you have. You can't protect the information that the journalists have and whoever wants to leak it or whatever. I know, like, I have a friend who's kind of close to to a couple agents in the NHL, and he gives me information. So I'll put it out there on Twitter. But like, who the fuck am I? I have 350 followers. Like, it's nothing crazy. But like, there's nothing stopping from those types of guys from coming out.
But also, typically, the leak happens from the leak originates from someone in the room. Right, like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a journalist just hiding, like Jay Leno hiding in the closet famously during a meeting of NBC executives to find out what he had to do to get the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Like that's not happening. What's happening is one of the teams involved, in this case being the trade, or someone who works at the league office, wanted that information to be public. I don't know who it benefits in this case for it to be public, but it does. It definitely has to be leaked by someone involved. The first thing I thought of was a goaltender that when I used to really follow hockey, when it was like my one of my main passions, up there with like basketball and football. I remember Chris Osgood just never really getting respect, despite the fact that at one point Dominic Hasek was removed. And Chris Osgood won the championship for the Detroit Red Wings. And to this day, he's one of these guys who's constantly debated as to whether or not he was really good, whether he's a worthy Hall of Famer, and so on and so forth.
He wasn't.
Fair enough, but I mean, like the thing is like I find it weird where we measure guys like, well, Carey Price doesn't have a cup, but Chris Osgood had 3. Terry had 3. I feel like it only counts in some situations, right? If you're gonna do the measurement that way, then. It's tough. It's tough because again, we know Fleury was never the greatest goaltender in the league. We know he's always been good. Just like I think Osgood was sort of like that next tier, a guy who was serviceable and in the right circumstance can do great things for your team, right? And we saw Fleury do that in Pittsburgh. And we saw him do that in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we saw it doing in Las Vegas and in Pittsburgh. I mean, famously stopping that shot at the end against I think it was against Vegas. When they won the Stanley Cup. No, when he dove in front of the corner. I don't know who was it against. Was it Boston? No, it couldn't have been Boston. I don't know.
You're talking about when Pittsburgh won the Cup for that first year.
Or the Golden Knights
Cup. I don't
Golden
know
Knights
if it
didn't
was
win
the
the cup.
first year. No, that wasn't their first year when they went against Golden Knights. I think they beat Detroit one year,
Might have been
San
Chicago.
Jose another year. I think.
I
This is
think
a
it
good
might
trivia
actually been
question.
that last year of Chicago relevance when Pittsburgh won the cup.
Maybe. Anyway, um, so like he's had flashes, right? But he's also had like blunders. We've seen like Fleury was always good for one mistake in a playoff game. Like it's just that we saw it happen with Montreal this year against Montreal this year. But like the guy's still he's won his first Vezina. He's won 3 Stanley Cups. I think he deserves a little bit more respect. And his agent Alan Walsh, who famously photoshopped that picture of a knife going through his back last year, and with DeBur's name on it, like as if he was getting stabbed in the back. I think that now he could have sent out that tweet, and it would have been like, okay, this is the shit that happens. This is exactly what happened. The guy was stabbed in the back for no fucking reason, and he was just shipped away to Chicago, a rebuilding team that has a young goalie that's most likely going to be the number one. So I don't know how Fleury feels about this. Maybe if he feels like if he wanted to retire, maybe this is a kick in the butt for that. But I think he's a professional. We've seen him interact with backups his entire career because he's always been kind of like, never like the clear number one. There was Murray that came in, then Leonard in Vegas. There's a lot of that. So let's see how he deals with Lankinen, and maybe he can help Lankinen improve his career.
There was one tweet that said that Fleury is contemplating retiring. We're gonna see how that goes.
I think I found the clip, by the way. So we're just gonna wait for this ad to play. I think this is the exact one.
Tangerine, great bank.
No.
Great
it sucks
bank.
when we can't get. Yeah, they should sponsor us. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was Detroit. That was right. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I remember it so
Like,
clearly.
I
'Cause I remember screaming to myself, "Stack the pass!"
I like. It's one of those things where it's like the Nelson Mandela effect that I literally remembered that same thing happening against Chicago. So I just misremembered it completely. My mistake.
What's the Nelson Mandela effect?
Some people believe there's an alternate timeline where he died in prison, and then we're shocked to find out he was alive years later and released from prison. Just like people believe the Brownstein Bears were the Brownstein Bears, and so on and so forth. There's a whole bunch of these conspiracies.
Oh, Brownstein. What's the difference there? What's the
The
conspiracy
spelling is
behind
different, but the spelling is not how most people remember it. But we were also kids when we watched it, so why would we remember how a name is spelled? We're 5-year-old kids,
Well, what about Jonathan Bernier famously answering your question about Nelson Mandela, saying how he was a super athlete and how he was his role model growing up?
Well, but honestly, he might have been. Who knows what apartheid took from him, Terry?
That is an alternate reality where Toronto wins games.
Yeah. Speaking of alternate realities, imagine falling down a cartoon golf hole or entering a server room, and then next thing you know, you're in the cartoon world and you need to play a basketball game with the Looney Tunes. I did it. I watched Space Jam.
Space Jam 2.
Well, no, it's Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Space Jam 2.
It's not. Well, so that's the thing when they do in theaters, right? So in theaters, it's like First Blood Part 2, but theaters just call it Rambo Part 2. And like whatever you called your sequel, it didn't matter. The movie theater was just like, no. We need to sell tickets. It's Rambo Part 2. People need to know what they're getting. So you're caping up for the AMCs of the world. I saw it. There's a lot of hate. Obviously, Eagle won't watch it because Rotten Tomatoes dictates what he will watch and not watch.
No, I'm not going to movie theaters unless I'm in it.
Oh, I didn't go to movie theater either. HBO Max.
I'm not paying $20 for that. Fuck LeBron.
Well, so I have
$20 a month.
I have an admission to make. You know how some people pay for a service and others use the service that others are paying for. I still use my parents' HBO Max account, and so they're going to be getting a $20 bill for the movie.
So your parents took you to Space Jam?
My parents took me to Space Jam again for the second time in my life.
I always make sure that I'm the one paying because I'd rather pay than not pay.
Usually, well, because the thing is, but like I have a lot of things that my dad I have certain subscriptions my dad will share with me, and that's the one I happen to be sharing with him. But now with all like the premium releases, that's now like the most expensive one by far. So, I mean, it's all good. I think we'll find out at the end of the month how he feels about taking Space Jam. But anyway, so there's a lot of hate, and I think that the hate generally comes down to, so I know, Terry, like you're a LeBron fan in terms of from a basketball standpoint, but he annoys you in terms of his personality, right? So I think a lot of people in your camp won't like it just for that reason. But the thing is,
he's a walking commercial. Fuck, he's a walking cliche.
But so was the original movie. The original movie was just a commercial for Jordan's return and for Nike, and Jordan's career was largely a Nike commercial.
I find it's way worse. They literally took every single Warner Brothers franchise and threw it in a movie to say, hey, which ones are going to be trending on Twitter? Let's go with those ones for the next release.
But as a viewer, so there's two things I like. So first of all, I viewed it through the prism of it's a children's movie because it's a children's movie. So I didn't have super high expectations for the plot. Children actors and athletes are the worst actors, and they continue to be that in this movie.
But also, how is that a children's movie? The plot basically is an AI data center is looking to take over social media.
Yeah, well, that's the reality.
How is that a children's movie?
That's the world.
The other one, there's a bunch of aliens going around planets. Like, oh, they're stupid. We're gonna beat them in basketball, and then they cheat. And oh shit, we gotta get actual talent. At least there's a coherent plot in the first one. This one doesn't make any fucking sense.
I mean, again, you're romanticizing the first one because you haven't watched it recently. I rewatched it recently. I'm telling you, the plot's not.
Don't you ruin Space Jam for me?
Then don't watch it again. I promise you.
I'm never watching either of the Space Jams ever again.
Yeah, it's safe. So the things I did like were that there's a couple of moments that are like where they draw reference to a couple of movies and a couple of basketball moments. So like Lola does the toss up to LeBron and the pose that D-Wade did, and so like it's a cool moment if you have a kid, which I don't have, but if you have a kid and you want to get your kid into basketball, you kind of show them the movie and then that's what they're actually trying to show. This actually happened in the game. So it creates sort of these talking points, and I think I have sort of a soft spot because my dad's not getting any younger, so like that father-son dynamic for me is becoming increasingly important as time goes on. And the other one was sort of there's Don Cheadle, who this is not Don Cheadle's best performance by far, but he does the "It's Over" from the Vince Carter dunk competition. So again, like, it's, God. But okay. I get it, like it's eye rolling for you, but for someone like if you have a 5-year-old or 8-year-old or 10-year-old child who never saw that, doesn't have a reference point for that, and they're just starting to get into basketball, it's a cool way to get them into the game. That's sort of the prism I saw it in, is like, if I was a dad to a 10-year-old, how would I feel about that movie? And I thought it was cool. I think it would have been cool, like, as much as like it is what Eagle said, it's essentially a 90-minute algorithm to see what's trending on Twitter after the movie. But it's cool to then also say, oh, there's Voldemort, oh, there's King Kong, and like showing kids.
Voldemort is in the movie?
Yeah, he's
a Warner Brothers property. Yeah,
yeah. So is a lot of the Game of Thrones characters. They're in the background watching the game. A lot of them are.
This is genius because now I want to watch it just so I can look at the fans.
Oh, absolutely! It's the best part. Just fast forward to that. That's the best part of the movie, is trying to pick out do the Where's Waldo thing of see who's in the crowd.
The irony that the villain in the movie is the villain in real life in this example.
Yeah, well, it's a very meta movie in that case, because it's a movie about the thing it's doing to you, which is stealing your information. So, it was okay. I thought it was all right. I thought I
don't know. Like I saw that ad with LeBron spinning his shoe, like the way Jordan was spinning, and Jordan had like one pair of shoe on. LeBron had two different pairs on his feet and another one on his finger. And I was like, okay, this is a commercial. It's clearly a commercial. At least pretend it's not a commercial. At least pretend, make it seem like, don't make me feel like I'm stupid for not believing you. You know what I mean? For not knowing.
But then how else would you know what shoes to buy? Like I'm wearing a pair of AJ1s right now because the internet told me they're cool. So there we go. There we go.
The only pair of Jordans I've ever owned were a pair of golf shoes. Swear to God.
I've seen them. They're actually beautiful. They're actually really nice.
They are. Just stopped fitting me, so I gave them to Marco Briette.
Yeah. Well,
I lost a toenail with them. Now I got a pair of Air Maxes for my golf shoes, which is even nicer.
Do you need to go half a size up for Nikes or Jordans?
It depends on the shoe, but Jordans I do. I have to go half. I'm usually at 10.5, 11, but I have to go 11. And my Air Maxes, I got 11, but I was like pushing maybe 11.5, but then I said, I'll stretch out on 11. Yeah. But usually I'm like at 10.5. New Balance, I'm 11. I know that for sure.
New Balance. Do you have children? Are you a dad already? Is that what that
No,
is?
I mean New Balance is great shoes. My baseball shoes are New Balances. They're beautiful. Love them.
No, I have to go half a size up. Everything I like my Blazer 77s, my AJ ones, my Air Force ones, all of them half a size up. Don't know why it is. It just for some reason I tried getting my size. They never fit me.
Let's go complain to all the children in Malaysia that are making it for 4 cents an hour.
Jerks. What? You made Space Jam a lie.
It reminds me of that Bill Burr bit when he adopts a kid from Vietnam, and he's like, hey, you made this.
We got a ton of stuff to get to, and a great interview with Jack Zergiotis. Sorry, I never get his name right. Jack's a really cool guy. He's playing quarterback for UConn. I think he'll be the starter for the University of Connecticut.
Well, we know he's going to be the starter because we're going to help him out, right? We're
gonna, we talked about it in the interview.
Yeah.
We recorded it last week, so it's not that Terry and I had a wardrobe change. We're gonna talk to him when we get to the interview portion of the show. For now, though, it's time for the news. Terry, it's the news. And news, there is aplenty. Aaron Rodgers, it was leaked that he might want to retire if he still have to play for the Packers. He had 3 years remaining on his deal. They seem to have reached a compromise where he will play for the Packers this season. But he has the ability to get out of that contract. I imagine it's in writing because there's no way those two sides trust each other at this point. But it kind of feels like a couple going through a hard time, giving each other hey, there's one last chance. We're going to stop cheating on each other. You need to take out the trash. You need to put gas in the car when I need it the next day. We're gonna try this out one last chance. And much like the graphic you're seeing on the screen, there's a reference to Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers, and they both posted a picture of Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan from The Last Dance. This leads me to believe that these two guys will be playing their last season in Green Bay. What are your thoughts? And then we'll make fun of Eagle.
I think that they definitely should be playing their last season in Green Bay. The fact that Davante Adams couldn't get an extension, the guy has done everything alone. Like Aaron Rodgers and him, they basically run that entire offense. There's no reason, there's no logical explanation to why the Packers shouldn't be really pushing to sign both these guys long term.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. And Eagle's gonna come up with some. Okay, well, this is the reason. No, it's none of that.
I think it's the opposite. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Eagle, but you're not happy with the Packers organization as a Packers fan at the moment.
You shouldn't
absolutely not. Why would I be? You basically somewhere in your front office, you made a decision that you're gonna move away from Aaron Rodgers, who's your franchise quarterback, literally the face of your organization, who's carried you through I don't know how many games, bad defenses, bad coaches, bad drafts, etc. And you basically throw him under the bus. If I was him, I'd be fucking pissed too. And Davante Adams is absolutely right. He's like, I don't want to play for any quarterback or random person. I don't want to lock myself into this. Yeah. I can make crazy money as a wide receiver, especially in a year or two from now when the cap is going to explode when gambling takes over. So why would I ever sign a contract here if you're basically throwing my guy under the bus for everything? Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah, the Cowboys are going to pay me for sure.
Yeah, pretty much.
They'll find a way to be over the cap and just get penalized a year and year after year. It doesn't matter. They'll figure it out.
Well, but the thing is, Terry, when you see that as a Cowboys fan, don't you feel that at least Jerry Jones is trying to win?
I was actually having this conversation. Yeah, I was having a conversation the other day with a couple of buddies, and it's the reality is that the Cowboys. Okay, we can make fun of Cowboys and Cowboys fans all we want, but the fact is that they actually keep their stars and they keep them happy. You know what I mean? They pay them. They always pay. Yeah. The only guys they don't pay are the guys.
Them too long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's some guys, whatever. That's true. Sometimes they do keep them a little longer than they should, but the offensive line, they paid them. The quarterbacks, they paid them. The running back, Zeke got a paycheck. Amari Cooper was already getting paid, but he got another extension. CeeDee Lamb is for sure going to get paid. You know what I mean? So, they go out of their way and they pay their guys. DeMarcus Lawrence got paid. So, there's, when I look at the Packers and they're penny pinching, trying to play money ball and all this shit, it doesn't make any sense because you're one game removed from the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. The only reason why you were there was because of the two guys you refused to sign. And that's the part about the Packers that bothers me. But another thing is, I'm not a Packers fan, so I don't give a shit. but it just sucks for those two guys who are two of the best players in the league.
So like I mentioned on the last show, I did some digging and looking at the way the Packers structure the Aaron Rodgers deal. If they were to get rid of him this season, it's a huge penalty. That said, you're also paying another quarterback on a rookie scale, so that shouldn't matter that much. If you think he's your contingency plan anyway, if you think he's your future anyway, it shouldn't matter. But essentially, they didn't want to pay that $17 million hit. And if him and Adams were to not play, they would be left with like $6 million of cap space. So obviously, not a great solution. So they came up with something that could ideally work for both teams. I've seen it both ways. I've seen it people saying this is a win for Aaron Rodgers because he gets to get out of here in a year. I've seen it where the Packers won because whatever, they get Aaron Rodgers for one more year, even though he's unhappy. And then somewhere in all of this, Trey Wingo reports that the Packers are trying to get Randall Cobb.
Apparently, it's confirmed and they're going to announce it tomorrow.
Well, so Randall Cobb is one of these guys that. So I was guilty of thinking this of Devontae Adams. I thought, well, do we have any proof that Devontae Adams is good? Because Aaron Rodgers always makes quarterbacks better. And then you made fun of me the next show because that weekend we were both freaking out watching, I think it was on Monday Night Football, where Devontae Adams at the top of his route goes inside, goes back out, turns around, catches the ball, back shoulder, falls out of bounds, like as graceful as a swan. And then I was like, oh, no, he's good. My bad. Yeah, I was wrong. But generally,
That's it.
Like Jordy Nelson left and didn't do much, and Randall Cobb left and like they're not bad players, but they
were old at the time when they left. Though.
Yeah, but so Randall Cobb's not younger now; he's older now. He's 30.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
And so like they're bringing him back to try and appease Aaron Rodgers, but again, I think he's looking at, just to your point, Terry. Like you look at the situation that Dallas created, and like he doesn't have anything like CeeDee Lamb, right?
No. If he had a guy like CeeDee Lamb that can get open under. Mm-hmm. I think we're looking at 50 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers. No joke.
But I see it a little bit differently here, though, because Pease, you play quarterback in amateur flag football and everything. Poorly, but you know how you have those receivers you play with, just because they're exactly where you want them to be on every play call, and you guys just get each other.
Yeah,
That's me for Pease.
It's true.
Randall Cobb is that for Aaron Rodgers in the same way. Edelman is that for Brady. Right before that, he had there's that one person that you always have that they're in the exact same spot. They understand the game exactly the same way. So I guess he's never the last few teams haven't had that. And so when he's in those scramble type of plays, I think he just felt like, why don't I have someone I can just trust every time?
You mean Geronimo Allison and Valdez Droplin?
Lazar.
Yes.
And he liked Jay Kumaro, and they cut him.
And all the other shopping carts that are on the field.
Yeah.
I like that. They like Kumaro. It's like, oh yeah, he's good. I like it. He actually goes public, says something nice about him. He's like, oh, he's clutch. Next game.
Jeff Janis. A bunch of tight ends that I think are all called Stonebrenner or Stone Runner.
And I think like Valdez Scantling is on like his 18th stint with the Packers for some reason. I feel like he just keeps on leaving and coming back. I don't know. That's how I feel.
They just need a body to put on a jersey to have 11 guys. That's it.
Who else they had? Lazar.
Only they drafted someone.
Yeah. So I think the way I feel is I think that this is the best they could have worked out. But I think NFL teams are going to start feeling the pinch the same way that NBA teams are feeling. And like when guys aren't happy, they're not going to stay just to stay, and they're not willing. Because here, like the worry before was always, oh, but what's the fan base going to think of me? But like Tom Brady's beloved, he might even be more beloved now than when he was with the Patriots, right? So
yeah, that's true.
Clearly, that's not a true concern anymore. But speaking of basketball, the U.S. I woke to catch the last few minutes of the U.S.-France game, where France took it to the United States, came from behind. They were down by double digits, and a team of Evan Fournier, Rudy Gobert, a team of NBA players who are solid, but definitely not the level of Team USA.
There's a couple guys though. There's a couple guys that are in the NBA on that team.
Yeah, I think all 5 starters are NBA players.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
But they're not Kevin Durant. They're not Damian Lillard. They're not.
No, for sure not. So not Devin Booker. Fuck. Drew Holiday.
I think there's a difference from previous years where like when the first Dream Team got to was it Spain or Seoul? I don't remember which Olympics. It was whatever the first Olympics was.
Spain, I think. I don't
Was
think
it
it was
Barcelona?
I
Yeah,
feel like
Barcelona.
Spain sounds right. Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Let's not look it up. Let's just say
Let's
Spain.
just make up the city.
Yeah.
It's in Bhutan. How about
Yeah,
that?
in Bhutan. So like Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and like all these legendary players walk off the bus, and from the moment they get there, the opposing players are awed and they're signing autographs. But now like the world has guys who play against these guys.
92 in
NBA.
Barcelona.
92 in Barcelona. I knew it was one of those two Olympics. I just remember which one it was. But yeah, do you think that plays a role at all? That the intimidation factor is kind of gone, as well as not having guys like Steph and LeBron on this version of the team?
Oh, and I think that like let's say a guy like Luka, they went off too. Like didn't he score like 40 points and they won by then they won by like 25 points, something like that. So like a guy like Luka who's like, listen, I know I'm just as good as these guys, if not better. You know what I mean? So there's no, obviously as a group they might be a little bit better, but I felt like Rudy Gobert, if maybe he was by himself before, now he's like, you know what, I got Evan Fournier next to me, who's a starter in this league for Boston, who's a good team. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of confidence there. Another thing, most NBA players, and especially at the top level, especially Americans, are little fucking babies. And this is my theory about the whole thing. I think KD, he's a little whiny that he didn't win and all this shit. And all these guys, they're all complaining. And then they go there, and this isn't their event anymore. It used to be their event. So now it's not their event anymore. They're not the cool guy on the block. The cool guy on the block is whoever's going to win. The cool guy on the block is France. The cool guy on the block is Luka Doncic, who's taking Slovenia, who has no other NBA players and killing everybody. These are the cool guys on the block. Now nobody cares about the fake dream team anymore. So the novelty is gone. They're still probably, for sure, they're the best ranked team in the world. But at the end of the day, they have guys that can shut the lights out, and they're not the fucking storyline anymore. And all these players on this team want to be the storyline, and they're not anymore. And they're in another world or in another situation that they just don't belong in sometimes.
So I still think they're the favorite, right? Like, so you
Of
still
course
have
they
Dame
are.
Lillard, you still have Kevin Durant. Like, these are still two of the best offensive players in basketball, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I do think when I saw the team's roster, it kind of felt like that Dwayne Wade team that finished and got the silver medal when I think they lost to Spain. And it was a team that was good, but it was just, it wasn't as overwhelming. It was a team that was better than everyone else, but not completely overwhelming. And it takes a bad game, and there you go. But what's interesting, Terry, is the reactions that I saw by some media members, specifically on a lot of very, very right-wing networks, talking about cheering against the U.S. And here's one such clip. I believe it's from Newsmax.
Yes.
Thank you. I forgot to write it in my notes. I wanted to make sure that we credited who it was. So this is from Newsmax.
Folks, it's not often that I'm happy a U.S. team loses in the Olympics. It makes me sad to say it. But I found myself rooting against not just Megan Rapinoe and her merry band of America-hating female soccer players. They lost one game, I guess, over the last few days. But I took pleasure in the men's basketball team, USA's first team loss since 2004. Yes, Team USA suffering an embarrassing loss to France, 83-76. The collection of whiny, overpaid social justice warriors are very hard to root for. The team is filled with anthem kneelers, and I find it ironic they are willing to put USA across their chest, but in the not-so-distant past, they would kneel for the anthem. Somebody ought to go up to them and just rip USA off their chest. I don't want them wearing it, personally. Here's what's rich. As the level of social justice nonsense described as activism increases in America, guess what? The success of these woke stars diminishes. Over the past 2 years,
I don't care about stats about how teams lose based on politics. Makes no fucking
Those
sense.
two things are not related, right? Like,
Not
am I
even
crazy?
close to being related. Like, is this guy like? Listen,
First of all,
I'm
NBA
all
players
for
don't kneel,
standing-
right? NBA players haven't knelt because it's in their collective bargaining agreement not to kneel.
and also to me, this guy is completely uninformed.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with the whole Megan Rapinoe thing. I don't really like her that much. She kind of annoys me. She gets under my skin.
First of all, how is it more American to cheer against your team than to ask your country to be more accountable to minorities and to people from the LGBT community? Like America's built on protest.
Yeah,
And
of
yet,
course.
what you're saying is that, no, I don't want these people who are protesting the same thing that the song that they're kneeling about is about. That song is about protest.
Yeah.
But then if cheering against them is more American, I was just, maybe I'm not American, so I don't get it, but what's up?
Two things about kneeling that people don't understand. So in football, growing up playing football, whenever somebody came to talk to us, like after practice, like a scout or a coach, everybody takes a knee. It's almost like a sign of respect because you want everybody to be able to see him. He wants to be able to see everybody. There's some guys that are 6'5" on the team, so we all take a knee.
They do that in church too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing about and this guy when he watches his games at home, this guy, is he standing up or is he sitting on his couch? Is he sitting on his chair?
Is he going to get a beer before the game, or is he putting his hand over his chest? Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what people don't understand. Is he drinking his beer? Is he taking off his hat? Like, I think the whole national anthem singing before a sports event is stupid anyway.
I agree.
I think it's completely useless. I don't know what fighter jets have to do with the Super Bowl. I don't know what any of that shit has to do with anything. Like, I'm all for, the months that they have, the camouflage logos in the NFL and stuff. And, you want to respect the military because they protect the country and all that stuff. I'm 100% for that. But, like, at the end of the day, it's just a fucking song. The song that was created a long time ago to talk about unity and freedom and all this shit. And when a guy does something to protest, which is basically the symbol of the song,
yeah,
and
that's
you
what
tell
the
him
flag means.
Yeah, you tell me he's not allowed doing that, then you're kind of going against what the flag stands for.
Yeah.
It's a chicken and the egg thing, right? And this guy's a complete dummy for saying that shit.
Okay, so Terry, I have a proposition for you, okay? Tomorrow you wake up, Roger Goodell says, listen, man, I need to take a day off, be commissioner for a day. And you have the ability to kill the national anthem, all right?
I do
you
it.
Take
I
it
do
out
it.
completely. But
I do it.
Like NBC, Fox, all those guys are like, yeah, but we need to fill like a minute and a half of screen time, right? We got to go to commercial before and after it, and blah blah blah. What do you fill that 90 seconds with?
I would fill it with the beginning of an episode of The Office when Kevin spills the chili.
Yeah.
I would just fill it with that because it's probably the funniest 2 minutes I've ever seen in my life, and it kind of fills the time. People would be confused that they wouldn't be tweeting. They would just be focused on, and maybe you can have like the flag kind of like transparent and not transparent, but subtly in the background of the video.
Just like spliced in, like
yeah, kind of like
they would.
The moment he drops the chili, he's got a flash of red, white, and blue.
Like a
the white and blue,
strobe
the
light.
red's there. So
like a strobe light.
That was the T-shirt Aaron Rodgers wore to training camp today. By the way, was he wore a Kevin's chili because they're friends. Him and Brian Baumgartner.
Yeah,
they're friends. So he wore that T-shirt in training camp.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Big old like Bret Hart style sunglasses. It was awesome.
I gotta see this.
The NFL has some new COVID protocols that are seemingly quite aggressive.
Well, okay, wait. Are they really that aggressive? So let's describe them for a second here. Essentially, you have to label who has been vaccinated and who has not, and basically make sure you still have the quarantining process in place for those who are not.
I want this shirt.
It's nice, eh?
That shirt, yeah. It's cool.
I want it.
If you breach protocol, which causes you to have to forfeit or delay a game, you get like a ridiculous fine. You get the game lost. It screws up your schedule for next year in terms of your waiting, right? Because it doesn't count as a true loss, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of penalties associated with it. And this has caused repercussions throughout the league in terms of either players or staff, either refusing or questioning if they want to get it or not. And some coaches have been fired because of it.
Yeah. So it's complicated, right? Because, firstly, it's hard. I never want a body to impose what to do in terms of health and safety. I don't love it when politicians have to do it. I don't love when your employer forces you to do so. That said, this is also the thing people always forget about professional sports is that the players' union signs off on these things, right? So like the head of the players' union agreed to the terms of the COVID protocol. Because that's the type of, it's a union run organization, right? So it's not, people are treating it as though it's a private industry and the players have no say. It's not that at all. It's a partnership with the league.
You might disagree with your player rep.
Yeah.
But that's something that you can deal with them. It's not necessarily with the league. Correct. And that's why they're in place.
I think what this shows me is that the NFL is very cognizant of like, okay, well, we don't want to lose a ton of money, and the players say, well, if the NFL loses money, we lose money because, in fact, the salary cap went down this year, right? Because football related income dropped, and so the cap is based solely on football related income. So you still have the TV deals, but obviously not having people at the gate, and obviously if games would need to be forfeited or whatever, that's going to cost you money, and that in the long term will affect player salaries. Now I know the salary cap is going to go up and players are going to make money, but you're still leaving money on the table. Money lost is never money that you can regain, right?
Of course.
As we saw, for example, with Le'Veon Bell, and he essentially lost money by holding out for that season because no matter what, you're always going to lose that money that you had during that year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you would have made during that year. So this is on a much larger scale. And DeAndre Hopkins said that basically he wasn't. I actually like the sentiment in that he seems to just be being honest. It's not like a political statement. He's just saying, I don't know if there's a place for the NFL. I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. It's also different, Terry, when it comes to the United States and minorities, where in earlier times there's a history of the government testing drugs on minorities and on homeless people, and so yes, it's different baggage for sure. I am of the belief that people should get vaccinated. I haven't heard a cogent argument against it that is rooted, in science. But I can understand someone having a personal issue with it. While I don't agree, I also don't have an answer for this. I don't know what the right thing to do is, right? Because here's the thing. Way. This is the first pandemic we've ever lived through in our time, right? Like myself, you, Eagle, DeAndre Hopkins, while other parts of the world deal with this pretty much all the time. In North America, we're lucky that this might be the only time we ever have to deal with this.
And it's to their, listen, if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, like how there's that whole thing with like, the team is bigger than the person and all that stuff. And Cole Beasley and DeAndre Hopkins and a couple other guys have come out and said, they're not getting the vaccine. And if they're not forced to take it, which they're forcing their hand, but they're not forcing the person, right? If they can stop working anytime they want, and there's no guaranteed contracts in the NFL, but there's guaranteed money, and I'm sure that DeAndre Hopkins can retire today and be fine for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? And if he makes that decision to not play football anymore because they're forcing him to get a vaccine or his team's going to suffer, then I will legit, man, that's good on him for standing for what he believes in. And that's a bigger protest than anything else, because you're not going to let like big pharma and fucking Roger Goodell dictate what you put in your arm. I got my second vaccine. I want to be able to go on vacation. And I know that they're going to be like blocking us. And my brother just got back from France and it was a whole mess. So I just said, fuck it. I'm going to get it. Like, even though I didn't want to get the vaccines at first, I was like, I'm just going to get it and just save the headaches. And, I took that risk. But if some people don't want to take that risk, that's on them. And good for him for standing up for what he believes in, and good for Cole Beasley too. I mean, we need more people that aren't going to be just do what they're told to do if they don't believe in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. You know what I mean? Like you and I, for example, had different perspectives early on. Like I said, I wanted to get vaccinated day one. I know I've done a lot of reading about the foundations of this. It's not a rushed vaccine. It's been in production since the original SARS outbreak over a decade ago. This is a variant of the SARS infection. I suffered from H1N1 when that was a thing, and it was 4 of the worst days of my life. Don't want that again. I work surrounded by people all the time, and so I said, you know what, I think in my case, in my personal scenario, I think this is what's best for me, my family, the people around me, my elderly grandmother, my parents, and so on and so forth. But I also understand if someone doesn't agree with me. Here's one thing that seems to be missed by all these debates. People are allowed to disagree on things, right?
Yeah.
Eagle, you had a point.
Yeah, I kind of have a hot take on the whole topic.
Mm-hmm.
The same players who are basically saying they're willing to walk away from the sport, retire, blah, 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 over this are the same players who just as early as last year, if not going back to the Kaepernick incident 4 or 5 years ago, were like, well, we got to play. We need checks. We got to feed our families and that type of shit, right? So I think for me, that hypocrisy is the part that's like, so what issues are you willing to sacrifice for exactly? Go ahead and explain that to me. As in, like, if it's affecting you as an individual, it's okay. But if it affects your community that you're representing, it doesn't? ?
So in both cases, for me, these are two things in our recent history that have become, they're non-political items that became political tools, became political weapons to be argued about by both sides. So to me, if politics is the basis of your decision when it comes to a matter of health and science, I can't respect that. Same thing when it comes to what you believe with regards to whether or not people should be killed in the street by police officers. It's not about politics. You could still be pro-police. I have friends that are police officers. You have a friend that's a police officer. We're not anti-police. We just don't want people being murdered without a trial or murdered by police officers in general. You know what I mean? So like, they're things that got hijacked and became political issues, and they weren't to begin with. It's the first time I've ever even heard a vaccine being turned into a political hot button issue.
Because it took away people, because all governments didn't know what to do at first, right? So it was kind of, we were just going off the handle, and we didn't really know what we were doing. And there was countries that, handled it better than others. And Greece's numbers, just to give you an example, that Greece handled it well at the beginning. Quebec handled it super well at the beginning. Now they're not handling it super well. Italy did not, obviously. Italy was like in the news every day. So, and they're right next to Greece. So like there's this whole thing. And then we look at the percentage of the people that are actually dying from this and the age that they're dying. So people start to like doubt the seriousness of this disease. And we all know it's a serious disease. I don't think anybody's saying it's not a serious disease. I don't think people, I think just
now everyone seems to say.
Now it's just getting to the point where it's like, there was 35 cases in Quebec the other day. I still have to wear a mask when I go to the dépanneur. Like that fucking makes no sense.
But that's an issue of policy. That's a policy is not the same thing as.
That's what I mean.
Right? I'm saying now people are sick because the United States, again, the numbers are rising, and one of the arguments I heard about the death rate was actually by John Amici, ex-NBA player, who I think is just a really fascinating person. He said that to him, and I was always bothered by when people would say, well, but so many people recover. And he said that the fact that there's hundreds of thousands of people dying, and you can use that as an argument, it shows a lack of empathy. It shows a lack of compassion for other human people who didn't have to die. Whether they were going to die in 3 years or 5 years, or they were already sick, they didn't have to die today. And if, for example, like if it was me and my grandmother's older, if this took 2 years away from time I would have had, it would have been heartbreaking for me.
100%.
And that's why, for me, I've never seen wearing a mask as an issue, because I don't wear it for myself. I wear it so that A, I can protect others, and B, even though I'm vaccinated, if it makes other people feel more comfortable. Just like if I came to your house and you said, take off your shoes, I love my shoes, but I'd be okay to take them off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So this conversation is getting way too deep for me. So I want to make it silly again, okay? Let's say
Please.
Hot Streak had a bet on which team is going to have a COVID outbreak and have to forfeit a game. Who would you take?
It would be over and under, right? Because that's how Hot Streak works. Well, Jerry Jones is saying he wants his team to be fully vaccinated, so I'm going to say Dallas Cowboys
For the
on the over. I'll take them for the over.
Over, yeah. So so teams that are going to be, they're going to have cases.
The highest vaccination rates versus the lowest vaccination.
Oh, okay. So the highest vaccination rates, yeah. So I guess Cowboys.
Let's
is
say
a good
over
guess.
under 42 players.
You got to look at cities. You got to look at like big cities like New York, LA. Those are going to be like hotbeds because they're more, they're more democratic, where more conservatives and Republicans are more less for vaccination. So it all depends on what city that you're in, what city you're from. So yeah, Dallas is a good one. I'm going to say New York is going to be 100%. Both teams are going to be 100% vaccinated. And the same thing with LA. I think both LA teams are going to be, the LA, and then I was going to say Las Vegas. So I think those two teams are going to be 100%.
I'm going to go Jacksonville for the under, just because it's Jacksonville. And there's no way
Florida's
you can live.
doing bad, actually. There are 1 in 5 new COVID cases right now. So, yeah.
My wife just got back from there. She told me, so my wife grew up in the United States. We spent a lot of time there. She said it's a terrifying. She's never felt as unsafe, not just because of the disease, but like there's a huge tension in the southern United States right now, and a lot of it relating to people's reactions to the vaccine and through the events that we've seen over the last 18 months. Whether it's
the numbers are going up in Florida.
They're
Yeah.
going up all over the U.S. right now.
Yeah, but Florida represents 20% of all new cases in the U.S.
Does that surprise anybody?
No, they've been completely open, and I'm for that. Like, I'm more like, listen, if you feel like Ron DeSantis, if you feel that your state is going to handle this well and you're going to be able to open fully, completely, because you want to give you want to make sure that businesses don't close and nobody goes hungry and people die in other ways, then that's what you have to do. But make sure that nobody gets sick. You know, I mean, that's just basically.
You need to then be accountable. Then, if you represent 20% of the entire country's infection rate. You need to be called. You need to be called out.
Have the state of Florida pay their life insurance policies out. See how quickly they'll change their ideas.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. So that was some pretty heavy stuff. But we're gonna take a break. We're going to lighten it up a little bit. We're gonna talk to Jack Zergiotis. He's a Yukon Husky. He's husky. He's a bear and a half. I like the dude. He's a great quarterback, and it looks like he'll be the starter for University of Connecticut because Terry and I are going to make sure he's going to be the starter at University of Connecticut. So find out why by tuning in next.
Joining us this week is Yukon quarterback Jack Zergiotis. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. It took me like 3 years to get Antetokounmpo, and I still kind of stutter when I say it. So, dude, first of all, it's nice to have you on. It's an absolute pleasure. My experience with you in football was actually in flag football when I saw you throw for the first time, and then I was like, yeah, this guy probably shouldn't be throwing in such a low recreational division. He's a jerk. But that said, Jack, it's you were honestly, in that game and in other games I've seen you at, you've been nothing but pleasant. You're a good dude. And I was super happy for you when I heard you signed with Connecticut. So congratulations. 2 years later, of course, but congratulations nonetheless.
Appreciate that.
So we had a little off-air banter, and you told us you went back home to Connecticut. So season's getting started. How's it looking so far? How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm feeling good. The team's feeling good. We've been working hard all summer, putting in a bunch of extra work and stuff. So we're fired up. We didn't get to play last year, so that was kind of shitty. But I mean, we're definitely. I think we'll be ready to go this fall.
So, are you considered a junior now, or are you still considered like a sophomore?
Yeah, I'll be a sophomore. Like in football terms, like in school, I'm a junior, but I still have 3 years of eligibility.
What are you studying?
I'm an economics major.
Oh yeah. Is
awesome.
UConn known to have like a good business program?
Yeah, I mean, technically the economics isn't part of the business school. But it's still tough. Like we're known for our business school, but it's tough to get in. So yeah, in the economics.
in beautiful Stores, Connecticut. What are you gonna do? The campus is actually pretty sick though. I've been a few times. I had a friend that played there for 4 years. And I just showed Jack before. I could put on that jersey again and show you guys what muscles look like, but I'm not gonna do it.
Or
I don't
what muscles look like, past tense.
Exactly. But first of all, I'm 5'9", 250. My buddy was 300 pounds, 6'3". I don't know how the fuck you fit into that shirt, man. It made no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, the jerseys are super tight. I'll play a game, and after the game, it literally takes me 5 to 10 minutes just to get it off. Like with the shoulder pads and everything, it's nuts.
I don't understand why quarterbacks. I mean, I guess because you get pulled down, you don't want anything to be able to grab. But don't you lose a range of motion?
Yeah, that's actually been an issue. Like I have to cut the seam in my shirt. There's a bunch of stuff. I still feel like it limits my arm, I guess movement.
You're still able to candidate. Pete mentioned before you played in a flag football with us. I actually picked you off on an extra point one time, and you broke my fingers.
Yeah, don't doubt that at all. I remember how hard Jack can throw. Jack, you of course you grew up in Montreal. You're in Connecticut right now. Obviously, very different. Just in terms of, I'll give you my experience seeing college campuses in the U.S. versus Canada, specifically Montreal. A lot of our campuses are part of the main core of the city, right? So McGill has a little bit of a campus, but Concordia is absolutely downtown. I had friends when I was a kid at NYU, which again, New York City, right? It's just it's a city school. And now I have friends whose kids have attended UGA, and of course I've been out to Athens a bunch, and I've been to a lot of college campuses since because that's kind of what I do during the fall usually. In a lot of my trips. So I want to know, what was that experience like for you? Sort of like going to class, going to practice in the first few days, knowing sort of what the college experience is like here versus what it is in Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely it took some adjustment. Like it was tough like the first couple months there, but I got used to it and it's okay now. But it's just very different. Like it's basically a campus on like farmland, so
Yeah.
it's literally all like cows and stuff like surrounding, so definitely an adjustment.
What kind of a guy is Randy Edsel? Because when I met him, he scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good dude. Like at first he may seem like, when I first met him, like I was kind of intimidated and stuff, but he's a good dude for sure. He cares for the guys.
He built the UConn before he left to go to Maryland, and then Jackson. Well, he was at Jacksonville before, but then he's built a name for himself. Then he comes back to UConn, and now you guys aren't even in any conference. You guys are independent, right?
Right.
So who are you guys lining up against this year?
So our first game's in Fresno, California. So Fresno State. We have some like pretty big games. Like I mean, Clemson's like our biggest one there. Like
yeah.
And then Purdue, like some Big Ten, like stuff like that. UCF.
Okay, so still some good games there. You're going every conference basically.
Yeah.
You're going packed, big, and now you're going to ACC also. I mean, so what is it like? I mean, you guys are going to be traveling. You guys travel every game. Are you guys playing 4 games at home? Like, what's the situation? What's the schedule look like?
So it's 6 and 6. So 6 home, 6 away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're traveling pretty much all over the place, which should be interesting,
So take us back to August 5th, 2020, last year, where Connecticut announces they'll be canceling the football season in concert with the ACC and a lot of other conferences. What was that like a year after starting 10 games as a true freshman?
Yeah, I mean, it was a shock. Like, it was tough. It's been like, I started playing football when I was like 7 or 8. So that last year was the first year I hadn't played since then, so it was definitely tough. But I guess if you look at it from like, if you're trying to be positive here, like we had an extra year to get bigger, faster, stronger, and just like build like the team chemistry and stuff. So in the end, it is what it is.
Are you keeping a lot of like the seniors? So you mentioned that you're still a sophomore football wise. So are all those seniors that were there last year, are they going to stay back?
Yeah. So we didn't lose anybody. So
okay,
that's good. Yeah.
Well, you guys lost another Montreal quarterback, Jonathan Senecal. I mean, you guys both got recruited at the same time. He went to André Gasset. You went to John Abbott. Was there like was it you both were told you guys are both going to fight for the position, or was it just told that we're signing 2 quarterbacks and you guys are the 2 guys?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what happened was like I came the year before he did, and I guess I found out from like Twitter or whatever that he committed here. So, but I guess I'm not sure what they told him or whatever, but.
It's the nature of the beast, right? You can't control who they recruit, even if they recruit at your position.
For sure.
He decides to leave. He comes back to Montreal, so that kind of alleviates a little bit of pressure off of you. You started all 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right now you're number 1 on the depth chart. Have they said there's going to be a battle? Are you the guy so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's like obviously camp's coming up, and like I guess like the best, whoever performs the best in camp will get the start week 1. So it's definitely it's not like locked in there, but I just like I gotta be on my shit,
Okay, just tell us what to do, man, and we'll take care of it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way I see it is, listen, you've obviously heard about the changes in the Supreme Court and NIL, and so like this is a way Terry and I can prove to you, you know, we can help out a lot of ways. Take out the competition, maybe help some sponsorship, that'd be awesome. Like,
You
Yeah,
ever seen
yeah.
you ever seen I, Tanya? I mean,
yeah, it's true.
yeah, you can do one of those. I don't know what the other quarterbacks' names are, but like, look out for two fat guys from Montreal.
Zach, you seem like a pretty confident guy. Have you had kind of a what I'll describe as a humbling moment playing football with, especially with the team and everything, or against an opponent where you're like, "Wow, I need to get better at this," or maybe something a coach told you?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess just 2019 was just a humbling experience in itself. Like I had my ups and downs and stuff, and it was just like, like this is it. Like this is you gotta like be on your shit and like at this point, like there's no more bullshitting. Like this is like this is D1, you know. So it's like I gotta, like I said, I have to. There's no days off, basically, you know.
It's a job, right? And it's a job. And now with the announcement of NIL, at least if there's an opportunity for you to, be able to make an income on the side and promote your own brand too. I think you got a good brand going. You got a cannon of an arm, so hopefully you get to see a little bit more of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, we'll sponsor, man. What do we got to do? Like, what does Hot Sauce got to do? You got to wear T-shirts. Can you wear like a Hot Sauce Sports T-shirt going around?
Yeah, I mean, it's still gray. Like, I guess since you guys are like in Canada, like it would work. But in the U.S. right now, like I'm not allowed to sign any deals or anything.
Really?
But yeah,
but there's so many athletes coming out saying they're signing with Barstool. They're signing.
Yeah,
with
like
right. Because I'm an international
Derek King has like
student.
7 figures in Florida.
Yeah,
he's an international student.
Because so the international is like technically they're not allowed to make money in the U.S. So I guess the rule change is very new. So I'm hoping that in the next couple of months, like there's gonna be some changes, you know.
Okay, so here's what I think you do: save all of your game-worn jerseys, okay?
Yeah.
And then sign them, and then like put them on like Etsy or something, and ship them off whatever price it is.
Yeah.
Well, we can put them on Etsy for you since we're in Canada.
True.
There we go. We all figured it out. See, teamwork. I like it.
So,
Jack, are you someone who, when you replay the games in your head, are you someone who like relives and celebrates like moments of triumph, or is it more like when you make a bad throw and you throw an interception, does that haunt you? Like, what's the post game like for you?
Yeah, for me, it's more the second one. Like I'm an overthinker, you know. Like I'm always like thinking of ways that I can get better. Like I'll watch some film and like I'm more focused on the bad than the good.
I mean, the way I see it is that if you're gonna be focused on the bad, at least like be like I'm the worst at that bad thing. So then it's like a positive. Right? So if you throw a pick into like double coverage, you're like, man, that was such a sick interception that I threw.
My ball is so catchable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't help it.
It's like fuck, go to the DP and be like, listen, I know I throw really hard. You catch, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Always positive. You gotta stay positive.
Yeah.
Do you have any roommates? Or are you living alone?
So because of COVID, like I'm alone. But in the fall, I'll be back with my roommate from our freshman year, Cam Ross, the receiver there.
The receiver, number 9.
Yeah.
He's a beast too. You guys got some good, solid players, man. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about Montreal, but they always seem to have. UConn always seems to have a Montreal guy on the team.
Yeah. I mean, we have like 8 Canadians or something like that. So
that's crazy.
Definitely a lot of boys from up north.
Well, and like Terry, you mentioned Randy Edsel, and I think it's part of that, right? He's a guy. Whenever
he's been known to Canada
for advantages, and an advantage for UConn is being so close to Canada, right? And so that pipeline for UConn's been set up for years, and so it's cool to see it's still thriving in a sense. So Jack, given everything that's happened, obviously, like travel between Canada and the U.S. has been difficult. I know I have a whole trip across the southern U.S. in October planned, where I'm starting in Austin and looking to catch Oklahoma against Texas, and it'll be super fun if I can get there. One of the things, obviously, Terry and I, for example, it'd be awesome for us to come down, catch one of your games. Where would we go to tie one on? Where would we go to get a good meal out in your campus?
Stores, Connecticut. Yeah. Chipotle.
Keep driving.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good spot
Honestly,
called
like
Chipotle.
I don't know. There's a huge like disparity between like the food here and the food back home. Like back home, it like you have everything. If you want Italian, you get like the legit stuff. You know, if you want Chinese, like I mean, Chinese is different there, but basically here everything's Americanized. You know, so
Yeah.
Everything
Everything is like the Outback
nothing's authentic.
Steakhouse. Everything is Outback Steakhouse, Chili's,
Right,
Fridays,
Right.
all that stuff. Great food, but like you're on
Yeah.
the. You're
Are
on
you
the
are you like cooking, or you're going to like the mess hall, the cafeteria, and restaurants?
Yeah, so I do have like a little kitchen in here.
I know
but,
you have one, but do you use it?
I think when I first moved in, like I was just cooking my own stuff, but I've been kind of lazy this summer, so I've been eating out a bunch and like eating in the dining hall and whatnot.
I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna start like saying that we sponsor you.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't we're gonna say that we don't give you any money. We're just like your pro bono sponsors.
Yeah,
and we're just gonna start like verbally abusing some of like guys that are with other sponsors, and then be like, see, Jack is smarter than all of you guys, and we'll do it to all of the guys that you're fighting for.
Yeah.
We'll put out these tweets every week. Whoever you're playing against and whoever they might be lined up with sponsors, just trash them no matter what.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to do
For
that.
sure.
Well, whoever their best D lineman is, we're going after him every single week.
Okay.
Who's the best D lineman on Clemson this year? He's screwed.
Make
I
it
don't know, I
super
think they're
angry.
all of them are beasts. So we'll see how that goes.
Have you had the experience yet? Because I know like when I was at a Georgia Tech game, and like the defensive line, or no, not even the defensive line, the offensive line of Georgia just dwarfed the Georgia Tech D line. Like the Georgia Tech D line looked like basically children as compared to like Georgia's offensive line.
Yeah.
Have you guys had that experience? You show up to the field like, oh, these dudes are big. Like this is a whole other level. Like, have you experienced?
Yeah, I think the one game where I was like, holy shit, was Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, we showed up there and there were some big boys.
Well, they got like Indiana's always had sort of that Midwestern pipeline, right? So they're kind of in the middle of a bunch of different states. So they get even though they're not traditionally a football school, they do get some decent recruits.
They're all farmers.
For sure.
Yeah, all farm strong.
They're all farmers, man, and they'll just fucking
Yeah.
They're able to pull tractors at 12 years old. Those guys. It makes no
Kind of
sense.
makes
We're like uppity here.
Your life was wasted at 12, eh, Terry?
What?
Like, why wasn't I pulling tractors at 12?
Yeah, I mean, I was pulling tractors at 16, not 12. That's because I was on the juice at 16. So Jack, obviously you can't cook at home. I mean, you can, but whatever. It's much easier to go to the cafe and get some free food as a student athlete, I guess.
Sure.
What's the worst? Have you tried Greek food in Connecticut? And please tell me you haven't.
Like I've tried like a souvlaki pita, but obviously it's like I said, everything's Americanized. So like obviously it tastes nothing like the real deal,
Of course, man. You can't even have like a good tzatziki over there, probably.
Right.
You have to
There's
smuggle
nothing
it
here
in.
that's like even close to what you get at like Liège or something.
Oh yeah, what a call right there, Liège, little Park X action.
Yeah.
So actually, if people don't know, Jack's father and uncle, them two and I, we used to have a radio show together. It was called Throwdown Radio from 11 p.m. to 1 in the morning on Sunday nights, right after football. And we talked MMA and NFL. That's all we talked about. And it was pretty fun. And I remember Jack used to come. He was like 10 years old. He used to come in. Yeah. At midnight, he would be. It's a school night, Jack. What are you doing?
Look, it worked out. He's in college, Terry.
Yeah. Somehow Gus managed to groom him into being a fine gentleman and get a T1 offer.
Zach, I have a general question for you. So we always hear about the coach's playbook and everything. So can you tell us how that actually works? Like, does he just show up one day with like 300 pages and be like, you have 12 hours to learn this go type of thing? Like, how does that whole process evolve?
Yeah, I mean, basically it's like you show up and obviously they give you a big book, like the playbook, but you go through it like one day you'll go over install 1, day 2 will be install 2, so we kind of split it up that way. So I mean, it is over at first it seems overwhelming, but if you split it up, like it's not too bad,
Also, you start getting the schemes and things, and when he adds things in, it's a lot easier to understand, right? Because you
Right.
understand the whole concept.
Right.
Yeah. That's the thing. Me and Peas have no idea. So like, even though I played football, show me a playbook today, I'll never be able to tell you what it says.
Yeah.
I just coached. Where should I go? There. All right, I'm there, coach.
Okay.
Maybe that's why I rolled the bench 2 years.
The game has definitely evolved a ton, So
what's your coming out year? What are you looking at, CFL or NFL draft? What's the year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not sure yet. Like, I guess we'll see what happens there, But ideally, like I want to get my degree first, and then figure that stuff out like later.
So what's next? What do you got going on? So for the rest of the week, are you chilling? Are you working out, or until you get to camp? Like, have you already started hitting the gym?
Yeah, I mean, we've been running and lifting all summer. We go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So we worked out this morning. Tomorrow we have a workout, and then we have a break for the weekend, and then we're back at it on Monday.
Do people recognize you on campus?
If we gave you a surprise combine tomorrow, how well do you think you'd do?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me that a month ago, I'd tell you like pretty well. But now it's like I'm starting to feel it, like my shins are hurting, stuff like that. So I just gotta get into treatments, like get in the ice tub and stuff. So.
But you said camp starts Monday, right? So you're walking into camp already broken?
Yeah. I'm going to have to work something out here.
Do you get recognized on campus? Like, I mean, the tattoos may be there, but like, do they look at you? Oh, you're the quarterback? Because I'm sure basketball dominates over there, right?
Yeah, basketball definitely dominates, but like sometimes I'll be in class and like a random guy will be like, oh, like, I hope you guys have a good game or whatever, So, but it's nothing like if you're like Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, where you're taking a golf cart to class because everyone's trying to meet you,
That's unbelievable. Yeah, sure. Guarantee he would have been late to class. Well, we're gonna get you there. Eventually, you're gonna need your own golf cart. Sponsored golf cart. Hot Sauce Sports all over the golf cart. You'd ride it around campus.
We can definitely afford a golf cart.
Yeah, I think so.
We can't swing much. We can definitely afford a golf cart.
I mean, I could just steal one from one of the shitty golf courses over here.
Connecticut gets snow, right? Can you drive a golf cart in the snow?
I mean,
put chains on tires.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea, actually. Yeah, campus security is gonna be pissed, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're just gonna ruin the cement the entire way through.
Yeah.
If campus security gets pissed, just say, "Well, I'm the quarterback."
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Do something,
You're talking to an offensive lineman? No, you're talking to the quarterback.
Yeah. I look like an offensive lineman? Imagine he's like, yeah.
He's like, I gotta stop eating in mess hall.
Yeah, I mean, when I first showed up here, I was coming off like a leg injury, so I'd gained like literally 20 pounds in like a couple months. So I was at 225. So I was almost looking like an O-lineman.
Well, when I saw you in 2019, like compared to when I'd seen you at Flag, you look like a different. You obviously put on size to play in D1, obviously, and like you at the age you got there, it's obviously easier than older guys or whatever. So like your body literally had transformed, and I couldn't believe it was the same person. I had to look it up. I'm like, am I wrong? Is it another FPF? No. It's the same guy. Holy shit, he looks completely different. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, I definitely put on a bunch of weight, and like I think one thing for me was just kind of trying to like lose the fat and build muscle, So now I'm down. Now I'm down I'm down to 210, like, and I feel good. So like it's definitely like a solid 210, but I'm obviously gonna keep working on it and stuff.
Okay, so before we let you go, what's it going to cost us to give you a T-shirt, and if you score a touchdown, you lift up your jersey, even though it's going to take you like 16 weeks to take it off? Hey, you just like Hot Sauce Sports, make Hot Sauce great again.
Yeah, I don't know if that would go well with Edsel.
Oh, I guarantee Randy benches you on the spot in a jacket.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a no mess around kind of guy.
So if you happen to be in the Fresno area on Saturday, August 28th at an undetermined time, which I think is hilarious, but anyway, feel free to get your tickets to go watch the game. They start as low as $37. Go check them out and watch some touchdowns be scored, hopefully. You better score at least one.
At
least
least
a stat
yeah.
favor.
Yeah.
But we got to figure out a way to get you that golf cart first, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, look, I figure we drive it down. Just me and you, Terry. Go to the border, see what happens. We get it all painted up with Mike's barbecue rub and Hot Streak Fantasy.
Yeah.
That way we
I'm
show
down.
them, listen, it's for business. This clearly isn't pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we're not having fun driving at 20 kilometers an hour. That's something that should take 6 hours. It's going to take us 3 days. Like,
Well,
we're not
Oh yeah, for sure.
11
At least.
kilometers an hour because we're going to be towing like a trailer full of beers. But yeah, still, it'll still be fun. But yeah, it'd be a long road trip. It'd be as if we drove to like the sun. That's how long it'll take.
maybe with Jeff Bezos. Maybe Jeff Bezos will
Maybe.
invest, get you that golf cart, and we'll send it to space with your name on it, Jack Zergiotis, Yukon.
Sounds good to me.
And we'll Photoshop Trevor Lawrence's like face or something, like something bad about him. Too pretty, that guy.
Your game against Middle Tennessee, I guess it's in Connecticut though, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be close, and I could have escaped.
Again.
I could have escaped if it was in Tennessee. I could have escaped.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jack, thank you for joining us. It's been a lot of
Thank
fun.
you guys for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, dude. Well, you're welcome back anytime. We'll get
Appreciate
you back after you dominate this season.
Yes, sir.
Best of luck to you, and give him hell.
All right. Thank you guys.
And we're back. What do you want to do, Peace?
Rapid fire.
The
Awesome
rapid
interview.
fire.
Hot Streak Fantasy, Mike's Barbecue Sauce. We'll do the ads at the end.
The Big Short. Texas and Oklahoma football programs have formally requested an invite to the SEC. The Big 12, are they screwed? Are they going to be the small 10?
No,
What's
I
going
don't
on?
think so. The Big Ten. This is the thing about the SEC is, yes, the competition is a lot stronger. But I think that Texas and Oklahoma are able to recruit, especially the thing is that people want to play in the SEC now, right? And people also want to play for Texas and Oklahoma. Nice jerseys, nice stadiums, a lot of history. It's schools. Like I remember when I went to Mexico in like 2004. I was 18 years old, and I was trying to pick up girls saying I was a fullback for Texas. Like that, legit. I'm not even lying. Yeah. And people want to play for Texas. So if they're in the SEC, they're going to recruit a lot more too.
So, I'm actually. It looks like I'll be going to see Texas, Oklahoma this year. If my
Red River
plans-
Battle. Oh, I'd love to. It's a bucket list for me.
Well, that's the thing. If tickets come down from $500, and if they, if we're allowed to travel by then and all that stuff, then yeah, we will. I'll be going to that game. So it's still a Big 12 game for now, because this would only come into effect in 2026, I believe. The thing is that I get it for Oklahoma. Oklahoma's been competitive for a long time. I think they're gonna do well in the SEC. They'll be able to recruit just like everyone else. Texas, it's another conference you're gonna win 7 games in. Congratulations.
Yeah,
they have one
Texas.
10-win season in the last 11 years.
It's crazy.
Next, 8mm. The Montreal Canadiens used their 31st overall pick on Logan Mailloux, who was charged with defamation and offensive photography, thereby nullifying their Stanley Cup run and all the hype and positive energy that went their way. Thoughts?
Thoughts are that this guy was most likely going to get drafted in the second round. Mm-hmm. If the Habs had let him go to the second and drafted him, then I think it would have been a lot smaller of a hit. I think that the Habs need to work with the woman, the girl that was affected. I think that they need to work. And this is what I was explaining to my girlfriend, that the Habs and this player probably had about 20 interviews before they drafted him, right? So he probably convinced them, like he was super apologetic, didn't want to do it. But the problem with these athletes is that they're super apologetic to the people that they want them to hire.
Yeah.
To their bosses, but they're never apologetic to the girl that they affected.
And to your point, Terry, he apologized by text. He was so upset by what he had done. He apologized with a 3-sentence text.
Well, she asked for a written apology, so
okay.
To his defense, yeah.
I know. It just it was also 3 sentences.
Write a letter. Write a Dear John.
Yeah,
letter,
but put something behind it. You know what I mean? And look, I don't want to do the thing where we're judging the sincerity of the apology. We're not involved. We don't know. Let's take him at his word. He's sincere with the apology. It doesn't nullify what he did. He was 17 years old. People do make mistakes. I do think he should get a second chance. That said, it's an honor to play for the Montreal Canadiens. Those 24 Stanley Cups mean something. I don't think, from everything I was reading, he was going to get drafted in the first round. It seems like a stretch given the situation the player was in and also the player's caliber. He was at best an early second round pick from even before this. So I don't know what the urgency to draft him was. I don't know. Maybe the PR thing is because he's 17. He's not going to be in the NHL for likely 3-ish years anyway. So maybe that's the thinking. You know more about this than I do, Terry. So
it's a tough
did they pick him
situation.
too high, and could they have waited on him?
I don't think they picked him too high. I think he was ranked. I think he was at one point he was ranked like in the top 15. So like
Really? Okay.
he's a good player. He's been playing with men, and I think he's gonna have a good career if he keeps his nose clean and all that shit. Right now,
Or his phone out of the bedroom.
well, that's the thing too. It's like, okay, he shared the picture. That was completely a mistake, obviously.
Yeah.
He was apologetic to everybody, and I saw his press conference, and I believe the kid. I believe that he knows he fucked up.
Yeah.
Will he do this again? Obviously, time will only tell. But I think that there wasn't enough focus on her. She came out on The Athletic and she said, "Listen, I asked him for an apology. He wrote me 3 lines, and like not even just like a full letter, just like, hey, listen, this is what I was going through. This is what I did. I'm completely sorry how it affected you and your family, whatever the case may be.
That
Just
was the article I
take
read
the time.
as well, Terry. That's where I saw there was a 3-sentence apology. So yeah, it's.
Also-
I thought that was a great piece, by the way, by The Athletic.
It was. Also, to him is that he's like, I'm telling all the teams not to draft me. Don't draft me, but never removed his name from the list. That's the part that I'm like, okay, well, you're trying to be a good guy about this, but you're really like, I know I'm going to get drafted. So, because if he lets us go another year, does he get drafted in the first or second round? I doubt it.
Yeah.
Next, speaking of believing people, she said, and so on. I feel like you put that in just to fuck with my lisp. Despite 23 accusers and 10 women making criminal complaints against Deshaun Watson, the NFL has yet to make a decision about his availability for the season. The Texans are starting to field offers for him, and it's believed he's going to be at training camp just doing what quarterbacks do.
Yeah.
Slinging rocks.
It's surprising given that it looks as though there's going to be criminal charges. The Dolphins are amongst the teams that are interested. I understand why, from a talent perspective, why you would be interested. But isn't this a giant risk when you consider that?
What's that noise?
Is there an?
It's a motorcycle on outside, yeah.
Oh.
Oh wow, it's coming right through. Yeah.
I thought this was I thought we were experiencing an earthquake.
I thought Eagle was just like a mouse, just like smacking his microphone. Like
That's the one. That's the one. So, we don't even know if he'll be able to play the entire season. We don't know if he'll be able to play beyond this season.
So what's his value?
Like we've seen Tom Brady suspended 4 games for draining footballs of air. So
Allegedly.
Yeah, but this is also alleged, and this is much more severe. So it does surprise me. It's like we've been saying the whole time. We don't want to say he's guilty because we don't know. But the league typically will put players on their like unavailable list while they do they did that with Antonio Brown, for example, while they're investigating his charges and all that stuff. So it surprises me. I just hope we get some of the information sooner than later. It just surprises me at this point that he's still available to play.
I agree. It's a tough sell to keep this guy on the roster until there's some sort of like judge's ruling. So we'll wait to see what happens, but I don't think that anybody should be selling the house for this guy right now because you can get him cheap.
They're commanding 5 picks, at least 2 first rounders and 2 starting caliber players is what they're asking for apparently.
Nobody takes that.
I mean, it'd be hard to get that if this didn't happen, right? Like, it's hard. It's hard. Like, it's a superstar quarterback at 25 years old. But that said, if he goes to prison and you miss 3 years or 5 years of his career, that it's no longer a 25-year-old quarterback in his prime.
That's a good point.
just make a deal with the DA and therefore get it dismissed. Hey-o! No Deuce in the Wild. When asked if he had a chance to be the starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Gardner Minshew was quoted as saying that, quote, he hasn't taken a shit in 2 weeks because number 2 isn't an option.
Because Gardner Minshew is the best person in the world.
Yeah.
The world.
If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I feel bad that I'm taking his job because there's no way that Trevor Lawrence is not starting, right? Like,
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence would be
you're
like,
starting.
Trevor Lawrence would be like, listen, I saw that quote. Job's yours, man. You
Yeah.
take it.
You know what? I retire from football. I'm done.
Also, I saw a meme and it said if Trevor Lawrence throws a touchdown pass to Tim Tebow, don't turn on ESPN,
For 7
Fox,
days.
or any sports channels for 7 days.
Yeah.
100%. It's 100% true.
I'm just hoping Gardner Minshew becomes the next Ryan Fitzpatrick, so you just see him around the league everywhere with his mustache.
My
That's
favorite
what
thing,
but that's what he's gonna be. It's exactly what he's gonna be.
my favorite thing about it is he said number 2 isn't an option, but he is Gardner Minshew the second, even though his dad's not Gardner. There's no Gardner Minshew the first. He's the second. I love that family. They're the best people on earth.
Star Wars Episode 4
Yeah.
style.
We need
Exactly.
people like him.
Next, Like a Machine. There's a clip of Tom Brady that's gone viral. People are saying that it's
Fake.
doctored. It probably is. But my God, is this fucking amazing. Like, Brady on Twitter is just so good.
Yeah.
So I want to show you where I know it's fake. So when the ball goes in, you see how it just slows down? That's what's fake about it. And those machines, you know how heavy they are?
Yeah.
There's no way he's throwing a ball. Tom Brady is not known for his arm strength.
I mean,
There's no way he's knocking that thing over.
he still would throw a ball harder than anyone's ever thrown to you, right? Like,
Also, the ball, that machine
yeah.
squeezes the ball.
Yeah.
So like, and
It
he's
would need
going,
to compress to go in.
yeah, and he's going against the wheels. So there's no way that ball's going in. There's no way.
But does it matter? It's still bad.
It doesn't matter, but people are like, look how sick this is. My stepbrother sent it to me. He's like, I'm like, it's fake. He's like, you think? Of course it's fucking fake.
It reminds me of the NFL commercials, like for the NFL,
Draft Me.
the draft, draft me ones. I love the Chris Chambers ones where he caught like a ball with one hand, a ball with another hand, and then like without looking, caught a ball between the two balls. Like again, I was a kid and I was like, that has to be real, and then I was just like, there's no way that's real.
But that one is more realistic than what Tom Brady did.
Yeah,
Chris Cooley
it's
was the best.
possible, if not plausible.
Chris Cooley was the best. He put his hand through a dry wall.
Yeah, and
He
caught
caught
a
the
ball.
ball with one hand. He put his hand through a dry wall with his fingers open.
No problem. Easy
problem.
life. Yeah, it was really cool. Again, I like the Tom Brady personality post Patriots. He's becoming my favorite football player, which is funny
He's
because
fantastic. He's great.
I hated him for 20 years. I literally hated him for 20 years.
Imagine he has to see a therapist because Bill Belichick like made him lose 15 years of his childhood.
Yeah.
How
He
fun.
made him relive a terrible childhood that he may or may not have had.
And last one for today, Bennifer returns. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez have gotten back together again and have recreated a grabby photo from over a decade ago. I believe this was from the Jenny from the Block music video, if I'm not mistaken. And so same thing happened again, maybe on purpose, maybe accidental. Who knows? Ben likes ass.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck, two things. One, good looking dude. Two, makes good movies. Three, I said two things, but I'm going to go three, has the worst tattoos in the history of tattoos.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and he has like that dragon one on his back, which is the worst. So I saw that picture, and of course everyone's talking about like the fact that J-Lo still looks incredible. But,
She's unreal.
Can we be serious for a second? Affleck looks better now than he did back then.
Well, not in that
He looked
not in that
douchey
picture.
back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
but
looks
that
hot
was like
dad.
early 2000s good looking guy. Like those glasses, like the spiked up hair, no facial hair. Like that was what a good looking guy looked like back then.
Fair. But it's also like you can tell that's pre-AA Ben Affleck, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
drunken douchebag on a boat, Ben Affleck.
And he looks like he's on like off a 3-day bender in the second pick in the more recent one. Look at that. He
Yeah.
looks awful.
Yeah.
He looks like
Wanna
he
hear
woke
a
up.
fun
She's like, wake up, there's paparazzi. What? Grab my ass. Okay, picture's
Perfect.
done and he passed it.
Yeah, so here's a fun fact for you. You guys remember Geely?
Yeah,
Geely,
of course.
whatever
Of course.
it is? You know when
Worst
that
movie of
came
all
out?
time.
I rewatched
Second
it
worst
recently,
movie of all
actually.
time.
It came
Why
out.
would you, one, watch it? Why would you, two, rewatch it?
So there's a podcast called Cinephobe where they review movies, and I'm working on trying to get one of the hosts on our show. They
Okay.
they rewatch movies that were poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes to
Okay.
ascertain whether they were properly poorly rated or whether they didn't get a fair shake. The thing is, I'll let you finish your story in a second, Eagle. The thing about Geely that I couldn't stop. I cried from how hard I was laughing. I was also not sober. I cried from how hard I was laughing because to send a message, he ends up cutting off someone's finger to pretend it's the kid that they had kidnapped. Also, the movie's not Jersey Girl. I thought the movie was Jersey Girl the whole time, and then was surprised that this isn't a Kevin Smith movie. But anyway, so he cuts off the finger with a plastic knife. He cuts off the finger and mails it to like whoever they need to get the ransom from. It's terrible. It's rated too high on Rotten Tomatoes. It's under 40%. It's rated too high.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's 6% on
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's too high. 6% is too high.
So the story on this one is it was released August 1st, 2003, which means that in less than a week from now, the movie would be old enough to vote.
There we go. But based on the intelligence of that movie, it shouldn't vote.
And also, it literally took 18 years for them to recover from the trauma that movie dealt to their relationship.
That dude,
Yeah.
he directed a really good movie too. I can't remember for the life of me, so I'll buy time while you look it up. He retired from filmmaking. It was the last movie he directed because of how awful the experience of making that movie was. I'm hoping by now.
Martin Brest.
Yeah,
He did. I mean, they're not that great.
No, he made a movie of critical acclaim. I don't remember what now.
Yeah, he did Scent of a Woman.
Scent of a Woman. There you go.
Ooh-ah.
Academy Award winning movie.
No, it was nominated. It won a Golden Globe for Best Motion
Oh, my
Picture, but
mistake.
didn't win the
Still
Oscar.
though, just to say, from being at the Academy Award, holding that trophy of Nicolas Cage, and to making Jilly, like that's a rough fall from grace. Terry, thanks, man. This was awesome. Thanks for the weekly therapy. I enjoyed it. Eagle, thank you for everything you do.
Thanks for the triple.
No problem, man. I can't wait to buy you coffee, Terry, when you're back in studio. I want to thank our sponsors, Mike's Barbecue Rub. They do a great job. If you want to get 10% off, go to Mike's Barbecue Rub, MTL.com. Enter Hot Sauce 10 and get 10% off. They're awesome, really good dudes, and they make great sauce. And they always remind me to rub my meat. And of course, Live Streak Fantasy. Download the app. It's super addictive. If you're like me, when basketball season is done, you want to watch way too many hours of baseball. They've got baseball covered now, and hopefully they'll begin the NFL soon as well. So go to Hot Streak, download that. It is a great app. So thank you to our sponsors, and most of all, thank you for letting me be myself. You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.